So Monday mornings, I sit at my computer and I prepare for the week. And this week I have a couple of discovery calls, which are always my favorite thing to do, to talk to people and see where they're at and to let them know that there is support there. And it amazes me how I think when I do these discovery calls, there's often a thought that okay, we'll get all the answers and it'll be like, I have 5 things to tend to and then I'll go do them and my issue will be resolved. As it comes to histamine and mast cell issues. And I think there's a misconception of histamine and mast cell issues as I just have to eat low histamine. And you'll hear that a lot. Eating low histamine alone doesn't fix a histamine issue. We talk about it over at Histamine Haven all the time. I've seen a lot of other histamine and mast cell focused practitioners really harp on the idea that, low histamine alone doesn't do it. And it's true. So while I prep for these calls, the discovery call, I think is overwhelming for people. And I'm the one that makes it overwhelming. And I would love, if anybody can give me pointers on how not to make it complicated and how to give people value who are looking for some low cost options. Maybe I need to stop trying to pander to, pander's the wrong word, to stop trying to really debate the fact that I'm a low cost option compared to other people out there. But anyway, that's my own poop pile to deal with. But, I'm saying all this because I also have a brand new client that starts today, and we had our initial conversation 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago now. And it took her 2 years to sort of put her eggs in a basket, try to figure out which direction she wanted to take, and now she's ready to undergo some of the work that I outlined in our initial conversation in that 30-minute discussion. But what is so interesting to me to notice what's happened in the 2 years, and sorry, honey, if you're the one that booked in for today, we're going to have a great time, and I'm not going to give anything away. But I will tell you that this is the pattern that I see with a lot of people that I work with, especially when it comes to histamine and mast cell, which is quickly becoming the entirety of my practice. And let me give a caveat to this. My goal is to get everybody living post-histamine and post-inflammation and post-symptoms, just living their best life, which sounds so general and non-specific. But when you get into what it is that I do, you realize that that's actually the goal. The goal is not to keep you locked into histamine issues and putting in those Band-Aid solutions so that you have to continue to rely on these Band-Aid solutions. We want to move you beyond the Band-Aid solutions. What I mean by that is looking through and preparing my notes and my questions for the full initial appointment today with a brand new client. There is a really long list of supplements that this person is on. And I get it. All of them, you can find the research that'll show that it's really good for histamine and mast cell issues. Yet, this person still has histamine issues. They are eating a low histamine diet. They are doing all of the histamine supplements that you can find all the research for, that all of the health people are talking about. And yet, she still has symptoms. So, this is where I'm saying this to help clear the way. And it will probably bristle people the wrong way, and I apologize, it's not my intention. But when you want to aim to live post-histamine, it's a different approach than trying to manage your histamine symptoms, yeah? It takes a really big mind shift to go from, I have histamine issues and I'm doing the medications, the supplements, the low histamine approach. Part of what we do is we can also go in to see what are some of the triggers. And that is important work. It is really sacred work as well. It's not futile, and it is not a negative way into addressing when you have histamine and mast cell issues. But if it can be enough. That can be enough for someone. 100%. And I will meet you exactly where you are at. However, I will also meet you if you are the person who's interested in exploring a little bit deeper. If you're ready for frank conversations, and it's not from a place of ego that I say this. Oh God, this is getting murky. I say all of this while I just made fermented foods for breakfast. And I prepared a sourdough starter, a rye sourdough starter, to make Dutch baby pancakes for dinner with sausages, like toad in the hole, but a very British version of it with a sourdough rye starter as the base for it. Like if you look at histamine stuff, sausages, number one, high histamine. I bought them on sale, so they were also higher histamine. And the sourdough is also higher histamine. And I have histamine issues. And I'm not saying I have it all figured out. I mean to say my work is in helping you figure out where you can have some wiggle room. I still have histamine issues on occasion. They aren't aware how they used to be. And I don't have all of the pieces figured out, and each and every single individual person is going to have to do their own work to figure it out for themselves. I don't have the answers for you. What I do have is a lot of the building blocks when you're first starting out. I know all those supplements. I have the ongoing list because Tracy and I put it together for the Histamine Haven and our online community. I know how to eat low histamine. It's amazing to me how many times I talk to people, they're like, I'm eating a low histamine approach. And then I ask just out of the blue, okay, well, so, for poops and giggles, what are you eating for lunch and what did you have for supper the last 3 days? And they consistently give me high histamine foods. And I'm like, you're not eating low histamine. And you think I'm sitting there going, you're not eating low histamine. You need to stick to that list. That's not what, oh God, I don't even know how to put this into words. My heart is racing because it's important work to try to decipher. Histamine issues are tricky. They're very different from one person to the next. And what they are is an invitation. An invitation to sit with where the symptoms are sitting in the body, what triggers them, and what is being asked of you to change. Histamine issues are the body saying, hey, I need you to change something. And part of the work is in trying to figure out what is it that your body's asking to shift? What is it that the body's struggling with? What is it with how you move through your day that's driving some of these symptoms? And that makes it seem like it's all your fault. And it is far and above not your fault. You are thinking you're doing all the right things because you're following the protocols. You ask ChatGPT. You follow all the people with all the free content they put out. You're doing all the things that are talked about and that we do in the online community over at Histamine Haven. Yeah, for sure. Yet you still have symptoms. Okay, well, there's something that's not shifting. And I don't know what that is unless we can sit in open and frank conversation with pure curiosity and a big old heart open. And that's where the hard work is. The eating low histamine, the getting the supplements right, that can be a really lovely start. And I think some of us actually need those long term to give us some of that support that we need and the support of that biochemistry in the body that's struggling. And I get it. Like, I'm never going to tell you come off medications. I'm never going to tell you come off supplements. I'm never going to make some kind of claim that you can live beyond these. So don't misread into what I'm saying. However, if you're doing all the things and you still have symptoms, now comes the invitation to dive a little bit deeper and open up the honest door. And walking through the door that leads to honesty is a scary thing. And if you think about histamine and mast cells as something biochemically in the body that's happening when the body doesn't feel safe. The body releases histamine when it doesn't feel safe on some level due to some biochemistry that isn't working. The tricky part here is going through the door means taking a different approach and asking or exploring different ways of figuring out answers, of getting to the root of what is it that's being asked differently. What is being asked of us to let go of is predominantly a really big piece that I see as a common piece amongst my clients. And it's not up to you to figure it out by yourself. That's actually part of the secret. We're all here to help each other out. We're all here to hold each other up. We're all walking each other home, as the Ram Dass saying says. And it is not a position I take lightly. And I think in order to, I feel like I'm poo-pooing and I'm making it seem like we've done everything wrong. We haven't. We just have to keep going and looking through doors and approaching it with heart. Going through the open door that as of yet you haven't gone through yet. When you go through that door, you are now approaching things differently, and that shifts so much in the body that in some bodies that shift now doesn't feel safe, and I honor that. I see it. I see it time and again with clients where I walk them to a door. They have to decide whether or not they're going to go through that door, and I will respect, and I will never shove you through the door. I will never tell you, tisk, tisk, you need to walk through the door. I will walk you to the door, and you will make the decision whether or not you're going through. And that can be with me. It could be 3 years after you and I've talked. It can be while we're still having one-on-one calls. All of the above apply, because it's not my journey, it's yours. And I will walk you to that door, and I will help you put some of those questions in place and help put some biochemical safety in place. And that biochemistry in place that needs to be set up is things like balancing your blood sugars, helping reduce inflammation in the body, reducing the histamine coming in through your system so that we can reduce what's driving your symptoms, stabilizing your mast cells, helping your circadian rhythm come back online, supporting your metabolic health. These are all big picture items that all take small, tiny little tweaks, and that's actually where the magic lies. The small tweaks have to be done at the pace of the person who is feeling the things. And they are the pace setter. I am merely a cheerleader on the side. And what I notice with clients is some will go through that door of curiosity and others won't. And it's really okay. And I don't want you to think that you failed if you didn't go through the door, or that you win some kind of prize because you went through the door. We're going to honor exactly where you are today and know that there's so many things you can put in place to make your body feel safe and less reactive. Most of the time, I don't know if the clients I support actually walk through that door. I get a sense of one gal very clearly who did walk through that door. And she's the only one that very clearly to me has said, okay, I'm going to open that door with curiosity, and is now living post-histamine. And I feel I'm still not going through the door myself, but I keep tentatively putting a foot in for myself and trying to live beyond it. But the rest of my clients, I really have no idea, because it's not my business. Because otherwise that turns into a judgmental piece, and there's only love over here. There's only love and amazement. Humans are bloody fucking fantastic. And I am so lucky to call my work my passion. I look forward every morning to waking up. It's really difficult not to get to work right away. And just to clarify any misconceptions, I never have these conversations with clients. I never tell them, well, you're gonna someday get curious and walk through that door. These are my mere observations from behind the scenes of sitting. When I have a new client, I go for long walks and I think about them, and I imagine many things about their life, and I listen to their entire story. We do a 2-hour intake. Sometimes we go to 2.5 hours. It is extensive, and it's deep, sacred work that is really actually just regular work. There's nothing really sacred about it other than being alive is sacred, really. I don't do anything special. And anyway, that is the kind of work that I do. These are the kinds of things that I see. These are the kinds of things that I'm observing in the super sweet honeys that I get to walk with. I am deeply honored to have had histamine issues in order to try to see how I could bring that as a helper to the world.